Great to be with you. Apologies for the first hour. I came to my computer this morning and I left it on overnight because I knew I'd have to get up early in the morning, 8 a.m., and I would like to just have a shower and then dry up and just come onto the internet and hook up with American Freedom Radio and do the show. But I came to a crashed computer, so my apologies to listeners. I'm on my laptop at the moment, so my voice is going to be carrying differently from other shows. I don't have a headset. And it's interesting because all of my Skype account was wiped at the same time. So I want people to know this is an opportunity for me to begin letting people know that I might have weeks and weeks of setbacks here. It appears that someone's gone into my computer. Files are all there. I did a system restore back to yesterday. But I don't have Skype or anything, so please be patient, guys. I don't know what email is like. I don't know what my Facebook accounts are like, but I've definitely been hacked. Nonetheless, I'd like to get into the subject matter today. I have a very special guest. I have Troy McLachlan. McLachlan. Apologies, Troy, you there?
No, you got it right. McLachlan.
Did I? Okay, because I was looking at your name before and I was just making sure that it was right, and then, as you can understand, I don't have any names on Skype at all. I'm talking blind here with you. But I'm so happy to have you. You're probably wondering for the first hour, what the hell has happened to Santos? How about that? He's booked me in. And
I thought it's something I'd done.
Yeah, with all the daylight savings and everything, all my radio schedules and everything had to be changed and whatnot. So, how you been, Troy?
Yeah, Santos, very good. Sorry to hear that things are going a bit shaky for you there, but, as they say, the show goes on. And I'm very pleased to have a chance to chat with you.
Yeah. In the hour that you've been waiting there, I've had a system restore. I've had even my laptop, which I'm speaking on at the moment, has got nothing on Skype. I had to make a whole new account. And here I am in 1 hour after all that. Now, Troy,
Well, you're doing well.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Look, I've heard a lot of your shows and interviews, Red Ice, wherever you do interviews, and I'm really enjoying your stuff about Saturn. It's fantastic, this research that you're bringing out. And I was hoping that you could share with us your latest findings, your best insights, and just give us your information, please, about the Saturn death cult, etc., please.
Right, yeah, well, I guess for the benefits of anybody who hasn't listened to anything that I've done, Saturn Death Cult is a e-book and a website that I put up in the middle of last year. And it looks at the idea that just about every culture on this planet records a variation in its mythology based on the theme that there once existed a stationary sun that ruled over what was called the Golden Age, and that this stationary original sun of Earth can be accurately identified, and this is the radical aspect of it, can accurately be identified with what we now today call the planet Saturn. Now, this understanding of mythology is backed up. It's dependent on a radical new cosmology for the formation of the solar system that is very different from the uniformitarian view that is mainstream. And this cosmology explains how Earth was once a satellite of Saturn, when that planet was once actually a sub-brown dwarf star, and that this configuration between Earth and Saturn drifted through space and was eventually captured by the Sun, and that this event marked the beginning of what mythology calls the Golden Age. And when this configuration of Saturn and Earth was broken up, cataclysmically broken up, this is what is remembered as Doomsday. Now, the Saturn Death Cult thesis that I have there, it's not a new concept in terms of the cosmology. This has been explored by people since Velikovsky brought out his Worlds and Collisions work. And many other guys, Eduardo Cardona, Dave Talbot, to name but a few, have done fantastic research in this area. But what I do on Saturn Death Cult is I discuss how the traumatic legacy of this lost golden age, with all its deep-seated archetypes and symbols that have entered into the human psyche, has been manipulated by certain malevolent occult agendas and elites as a way of establishing their control over the productive capacity of the greater population. And so in the end, the Saturn Death Cult is really about two golden ages. An ancient one in which the god Saturn ruled but was lost to a great cataclysm, and the future establishment of a new Saturnian golden age at the hands of those certain elites that tried to evoke the legacy of Saturn to legitimize their claims to rule. So hopefully Saturn Death Cult will help demystify much of that which has been distorted in mythology and has become the basis for certain occult and religious belief systems. And it helps, hopefully, give people the means, by which to identify where the basic archetypes and that drive our collective psyche come from, and how these archetypes are being and have been manipulated against us in order to, seize this productive capacity for the benefit of a small parasitic elite.
Yeah. Fantastic. It certainly does explain a lot. I do follow Thunderbolts and Wallace Thornhill and all those guys and promote their work. It's interesting how they've discovered the coaxial relationship between Saturn, the Earth, Venus and Mars. It's absolutely brilliant, and they've provided many proofs. So that's quite interesting. The parasitic elites, Troy, can you enlighten us on those guys? Because there's so much confusion. We hear talk about, reptilians, fourth dimensionals, grey.
Right.
Let's have it. Who are they?
Okay, I actually I use a nomenclature in Saturn Death Cult that is probably obvious to most people who are familiar with the various permutations of what are dubbed conspiracy theory and so on. I think when I talk about the Red Shield, I think most people are aware that I'm talking about a certain banking dynasty and such. But what I like to tell people, Saturn Death Cult really talks about a culture, the creation of a culture in which conspiracy can exist. And the motivation for that culture, or that motivation for conspiracy to take place, is tied up in the idea that a lost golden age means that there are people who want to get back what the golden age offered, which was a world without want. And their method of doing so is to get everybody else to do all the work for them, so that they can enjoy what is perceived to have been the case in this ancient golden age, a time where no work was required. The difference being in this age and this, or in the ages that have followed the golden age, the elite have, or basically a certain group of type of individual has wanted to ensure that the productive work of everybody else is geared to their own benefit, and they have sought to monopolize that productive output through debt-based financial systems, which is the current mode that is most obvious to people today, but also through the whole concept of nobility, distortions of the idea of kingship, and essentially are using financial or religious control mechanisms purely to make life good for them at our expense. And that's what I allude to. But I think most people can understand that if you want me to point to anybody today, I would most point at the central banking model as it sits in today, with its debt-based issue of money. And I would say that is the single most threatening manifestation of this distorted Saturnian worship that I talk about in Saturn Death Cult.
Yeah. Wow. And that makes sense. It does. It really does. They're sitting back, smoking Havanas, drinking their champagne, etc., at the cocktail parties, and they seem to be oblivious of all the suffering somehow of the rest of humanity as they enjoy that golden age here on Earth.
Yeah, it's purely, I often refer people because a lot of us come out of what is called a Judeo-Christian, culture. But, in the West, in the English-speaking world, that's the predominant culture there. I refer to that statement about, which is probably the most famous Golden Age mythology, which is the Garden of Eden, that's found in the Bible, the story there. And essentially, it's summed up by what is told to the characters Adam and Eve when they are chucked out of the Garden of Eden. That from then on, they would by the sweat of their brow make the earth yield its fruits. And all I can say is that there are a group of people who looked around and said, no, I have no intention of making the earth yield its fruits by the sweat of my brow. I'll get everybody else to do it. And that is the basic motivation. And it really gets refined down through many of the major religions or original texts and so on, where the love of money being the root of all evil and also the abomination of lending money at interest is a defining factor in how these people have gone about manipulating and monopolizing the productive capacity of the vast majority of us who are basically sweating our brows off making the earth yield its fruits.
Yeah. Yeah, ingenious system, isn't it? And so...
Incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's quite incredible. I mean, you have to be prepared for this, because you can't just tell anybody this stuff. They go into meltdown, think you're a loony, and run the other way.
Yeah.
Because they don't see how ingrained this is, and it's very, very deep. It's historical. It's ancient, and it's there. And the elites that have perpetrated this system have certainly made sure that they're not going to be easily, visible. They're very, very invisible. Now, the death cult. So how do you think? How is it that they get about and continue to perpetrate their deaths and their blood culture and bloodletting, as in wars and so forth? The mechanisms. Right. Can you explain some of the mechanisms there?
Yeah, well, the book could have been called just simply The Saturn Cult that I wrote, but the death element was brought in there simply because there is a distorted belief system within various occults that looks back to a golden age and believes that a chosen few have the right to trigger a new golden age, but that humanity as a whole, or mankind, has to go through a death in order to be reborn into a new golden age in order to bring about this golden age. You can see this in aspects even in the major religions. Christianity is a classic example where the death aspect is promoted above the debt forgiveness idea that is found in the same scriptures. And essentially, it is an attempt by a ruling elite. As I say, they would like to institute a golden age where they live without want. They can only do that by monopolizing and manipulating the rest of us to do the work to provide that lifestyle for them at this time. But they do actually believe that the next evolutionary step of mankind is due, and that somehow knowledge of the old golden age and the mythologies and the various rituals that come out of that will be the trigger will be the trigger in bringing about a new golden age in which there will be an evolutionary jump in humanity, transformation of humanity. Now, one of the themes I explore in Saturn Death Cult towards this is the whole idea that since the end of the last golden age, these various conspiracies, these various manipulations and monopolizations by these elites is literally seen at a very deep level amongst some of these people as a ritual itself. The whole ebb and flow of history is this grand ritual that, through its timing and its build-up over the centuries, in itself is the trigger for entering into a new golden age. And so subsequently they are basically behind the scenes spending a lot of time refining various rituals, and many of these rituals are obsessed with the idea of transformed humans through the act of death and what that power brings. For many of them, I believe that it's an ongoing experiment. They don't really have a truth or an understanding that is creating a new human, but nonetheless, it's had a very profound and frightening effect on the rest of us. The fact that they believe this.
Yeah, which causes them to believe in their eugenics programs, etc. Because
Absolutely.
they're so. Yeah, can you speak to that?
Yeah, well, the eugenics program, which I believe is... You see, I think a lot of people say, why don't they just get it over and done with? Why don't these elites just do what everybody says they're planning to do, and why do they take centuries to do it? And I think that is down to the idea that they themselves believe there is a correct timing for all things involved. They're obsessed with numerics, with getting the dates right, with the way seasons work and so on. And basically eugenics is a part of that process whereby they're leading to the grand sacrifice to dwarf all sacrifices beforehand.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to a break, Troy, and we'll continue with the thought.
Sean David Morton here to tell all of my fantastic fans and friends about one of the greatest conference gatherings of all time of your favorite New Age, New Thought, and radio personalities. The Alchemy event, starting at 8:30 a.m., April 28th to Sunday, April 29th. Come to the Alchemy event in West Los Angeles. Or if you can't join us all in person, you can have the fantastic opportunity to watch it on Global Stream Live online for a celebration of global peace and transformation, ET disclosure, prophecy, earth changes, ufology, metaphysics, consciousness, healing, and meditation. Join me for lunch with special guests, Coast to Coast George Norrie, Project Camelot, Carrie Cassidy, Dr. Roger Lear, Michael Hercules Barra, Saeed David Farman, Dr. Louis Turi, Sudi Burnett, and many, many more. Tickets on sale now. Register online at alchemyevent.com or click on AFR's homepage. That's alchemyevent.com. The Alchemy event in Los Angeles, California, April 28th and 29th. Don't you dare miss it. See you there.
Indigrow is your source for affordable induction grow lighting. First discovered in 1891 by Nikola Tesla, Indigrow lights deliver 11 years of electronic sunlight to your plants. Indigrow lamps require less than half the power of traditional HID lamps. Converting to Indigrow lights means you'll cut down on your power bill with less lighting. Indigrow lamps also use 5 times less mercury than traditional fluorescent or HID lamps, making Indigrow not only energy efficient but environmentally friendly as well. No more switching out lamps between vegetative and flowering stages. As nature intended, your lights get a steady dose of UV light. That makes your plants grow healthier and stronger. Indigrow products are manufactured in San Diego, California, and come with a written 10-year warranty. What Tesla knew, then growers know now, is that Indigrow lighting is the cost-effective addition to your victory garden. To learn more or order now, go to inda-grow.com. That's INDA-GRO.com. Or call 877-452-2244 to answer any of your questions. These guys really know lights. Indigrow really is your sunlight in a box.
Could it all be a bad dream or a nightmare? Based on preposterous notions and on ideas whose time should never have come, preventive war is used as the road to peace. tolerance delivered by government guns, an empire replacing the republic, slavery sold as liberty, socialism to save capitalism, a government out of control, unrestrained by the Constitution, the rule of law, or morality. Money does not grow on trees, nor does prosperity come from a government printing press or escalating deficits. A central bank that deliberately destroys the value of the currency in secrecy, without restraint, cheered on by the pseudo-capitalists of Wall Street, the military-industrial complex. The good news is the reversal is achievable through peaceful and intellectual means, and fortunately, the number of those who care are growing exponentially.
This is Sean David Morton, the host of Strange Universe Radio, and I've achieved worldwide fame for my predictions about the stock market and the global economy. Years of economic earthquakes have shaken our confidence in stocks, real estate, currencies, even the stability of nations. Our country teeters on the brink of seeming economic wreck and ruin. Everybody asks me one question: what can I do? Gold is the one investment that preserves and grows real wealth in today's debt-addicted world. Rising government spending and taxes and inflation almost guarantee higher gold prices for years to come. You can protect your family and your future, even if a tidal wave of inflation devalues our dollar. Your first step to safety from the financial storm ahead is to read Swiss America's fantastic new white paper called Remaking Money. It's free when you call 800-289-2646. That's 800-BUY-COIN. Or go to SwissAmerica.com and download the new amazingly cool Swiss America app on iTunes. That's 800-289-BUY-COIN. Call Swiss America, the gold standard.
Warning. Warning. American. Warning. American Freedom Radio. This habit forming. American Freedom Radio. This habit forming. Use the truth carefully.
Listen to Time for Hemp, hosted by Casper Leach. Afternoons, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central. Only on American Freedom Radio.
Troy McLachlan from the Saturn Death Cult. It's really been enjoyable listening to you, Troy. We were talking about the eugenics, and we see how the elites have used immunisations and other sort of means and things to medicate and get into people's bodies, and it seems that they've got many, many schemes whereby they control all of this. Would you like to speak to that a bit further, please?
Yeah, well, Santos, we were discussing earlier on this motivation right at the beginning for this idea that there is a small group of people who seek a lifestyle which is based on the productive capacity of other people, and therefore they want to monopolize that. What I believe a lot of the talk about eugenics and bringing the population down is all about is really about management as much as it is about some kind of mystical belief in rebirthing into a new golden age. And what I believe the management factor is simply that there is a critical mass in terms of the general population that they seek to monopolize, where it gets just a little bit too unwieldy for them to maintain this control. And so, quite simply, you are getting into a form of Malthusian economics where they have to cull the herd in order to make it more manageable for the preferred numbers of people that they judge to be the elite. I think that really is the rationale behind a lot of this talk that they would like to engender eugenics amongst the population. They've not been subtle about it. We know that there is a desire to bring the planet's population down to as little as 500 million from its current 7 billion. That's a lot of deaths to achieve that. And, these calls have gone out under the guise of saving the planet and such. But really, the whole idea is to bring humanity down to a manageable level so that the lifestyle can be maintained for these people without them having to actually do any work to maintain that. Now, I think for many people is, how do these people actually gain control? How did they institute systems such as the Federal Reserve, the central banking model that we have, and what claim do I have as a researcher in saying it's all based on Saturnian worship and or basically this golden age culture that is attributed to the god Saturn? My claim to that is simply this, that when you look at even just the US dollar note, the reserve currency as it is at the moment, it has its own version of the all-seeing eye plastered on it, which is a extremely obvious Saturnian symbol that comes from this golden age. And they tend to place on all their symbols, all their symbols of authority, all these references to Saturnian symbols. And the reason for that is that due to the cataclysmic nature of the doomsday event that saw the actual planet of Saturn lose its position as Earth's original sun, the human psyche was imbued, you could say saturated with these basic archetypes, these triggers in their subconscious that allude back to the Golden Age. And because we have a yearning as a result of that within our collective psyche to want to get back to this wonderful age when Saturn ruled, anybody wielding symbols that evoke these archetypes tends to get our attention, tends to trigger in us what you could say a subservient feeling towards them, towards somebody who claims ownership of such symbols. And this is what they've been perpetrating through history. So Saturn Death Cult is an attempt to show you where these symbols come from, how they were derived, and then basically gives you the tools for identifying who is using those symbols today for their own ends. And, it's my opinion that as we enter into this age of the Internet and people like you and me can connect and be heard in ways that were never possible even 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago, the greater population is becoming more educated to this, and these people are losing control. And I think as a result, they are accelerating their processes for monopolization of the planet. But in the process, because it's parasitical in nature, it's starting to implode on them. It's actually an amazing confluence of situations. The population is becoming educated. The system that was used to monopolize and control them is imploding under its own debt that was the actual tool for this control. And so subsequently we're entering into what could be a very exciting period of readjustment, a virtual reset of the planet's psyche. How we come out of that really depends on, I believe, how the overall majority of us come to understand how we were manipulated in the past.
Wow. Do you foresee in the very near future that these entities will be toppled, and how?
Well, once again, the short answer to that is yes, I do see them being toppled. I actually believe we're in the throes of it right now. And contrary to a lot of ideas that the toppling will manifest itself through earthquakes, coronal mass ejections, things like that, that are actually natural in nature. And, there's a lot of talk out there that the elite are planning for a supposed event to survive that is, natural in nature. I actually have a very positive view that the current financial system that is undergoing a crisis at the moment is the visible manifestation of a complete imploding of their control systems, which are financial in nature. And so, therefore, I would urge people to educate themselves on the financial nature of the elite's control systems, and basically learn how to spot that their system is imploding. Europe at the moment is probably the foremost theater of where this is taking place, this incredible farce that we're seeing with countries like Greece and now Spain. But at some point, there will be a critical mass reached, and the whole system will go very, very quickly. The world will lose its belief in the fiat money system that these people put out, and we will see a changing of the guard. It's up to us as individuals to be ready for that change and to be able to not only offer a system that is based on fair weights and measures, i.e. not an interest-based money system, but to also recognize when other people are offering systems that it is one that is no longer going to be based on the debt-based usury system that financing has constantly utilized over the last at least 3.5 millennia.
Wow. Yeah. That sounds about right. 3.5 millennia. Going back to, yeah. That takes you right back to Akhenaten, yeah?
Yes, it does. I actually identify to date 6 periods where the elite have nearly lost control through an implosion of the finance system that they constantly institute. See, when people realize that when they pull off the scam, which is basically, I give you $10, there's only $10 left in the world in existence, but I demand you pay me back 11. I've just asked you to do the impossible. And they have worked out the subtle ways to perpetuate that system, but it inevitably always implodes under its own debt weight. Their hope is that they then foreclose on the property of everybody, and they basically gain ownership over the land. They make a claim over the land, and that has been their system. But every now and then it gets so out of whack, so out of control, that they have a complete implosion where whatever claims to ownership there were lose all validity in the chaos that results. Now, in Saturn Death Cult, I discuss what is known as the Tower of Babel moment, or Babel as some people call it. And I put that down as the first recorded time when a debt-based system collapsed into chaos. I go into the Hebrew that's involved in the biblical account of that story and show that the whole thing is based on the idea that a system was being built, and that system was trying to climb to heaven to become the final authority over mankind, i.e. what heaven evokes in people, the idea of authority over mankind. And that's what they were climbing to. That's what they were building, a system, a tower of control. And that system was central banking under usury. Now, since that time, if you include that particular moment, I count 5 more events that took place that were very close, particularly in Western culture. And probably the most profound one that is closest to the one that we're about to go through would have been what happened in the 1340s with the collapse of the Florentine banking houses and the advent of the Black Death. Eerily similar to what a lot of people are predicting, the idea that eugenics will be carried out by a simple release of a virus or something. People have actually made a case that the Black Death was a form of biological warfare, germ warfare at the time. But nonetheless, the conditions that took place back then really stand a chance of being repeated on a worldwide scale with the current one. The incident that happened between 1340 and the current one that we're about to go through, I believe, the middle one with that would be characterized by the French Revolution, where the elite just about lost control and so on, but managed to turn it around and institute central banking in the form of the Rothschild dynasty and the establishment of the Federal Reserve in the United States by 1913. But that system is really currently undergoing a massive threat of implosion. And for anybody who wants to look at what we possibly could go through, check out what was happening in the 1340s. It gives you a very good idea. Wow. I'm trying to think back there. I can remember a few dark events there. It was very dark times, wasn't it? That was like big time, wasn't it? There was the Black Death. There were the incessant wars, the invasions by the Mongols coming into Europe at the time. China itself was actually undergoing tremendous hardship in the Black Death area. But most importantly, what it was about was the debt-based usury that had grown up around the Florentine banking houses, and how the sheer greed and lack of willingness to forgive debt imploded trade and productive capacity. It completely stymied any sort of economic gain. And, of course, that led to malnutrition, that led to starvation, and the Black Death was also concurrent with extreme famine at the time. Very, very frightening time to be around. Very frightening. A lot of people have no idea. I mean, the city of Kiev went from a population of 700,000, enormous in that time, to only 7 people. God. Wow. Really frightening stuff. Yeah, William Bramley in Gods of Eden talks about how how the Dark Brotherhood was potentially behind that, because they had this germ warfare technology back there. They've always had it. Yes, that's right. I think it was through Bramley that I had sort of come across the concept that the Black Death might have been a manipulated, agent of destruction. But I've done a bit of research into the causes of the Black Death, and of course it's blamed on, you'll have to excuse me, the bubonic sort of concept. I can't remember the exact scientific name for it, but there are a lot of people out there that absolutely dispute this as a cause for that, and so therefore we're probably in a situation where we still haven't established exactly what it was that was possibly released on the population at that time. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Beautiful. Let's take a break, and we'll be back for the final segment. No calls today, of course, listeners. We're on a short show today. Apologies to all. Thank you.
All the money you made don't ever buy back your soul.
Are you suffering from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeats, clogged arteries? If so, you are not alone. Millions of people are suffering from one or more of these problems. If you'd like to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, then this might be the most important message you'll ever hear. An effective 100% organic nutritional supplement is now available. Heart and Body Extract is an exclusive formula of wild-crafted and organic herbs. It is extremely effective and starts to work within days. Get your Heart and Body Extract today by visiting heartandbody.com or by calling 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305, or heartandbody.com.
Witnesses, first responders, and others tell the story the NTSB and the FBI hope to cover up. The documentary film, Wellstone, They Killed Him, examines the killer's motives, means, and opportunity. Who was Senator Paul Wellstone, and why would anyone want to kill him? High on the motive list is that the populist Minnesota senator, one of 23 who voted against the Iraq War in 2002, was sticking his nose into 9/11. Wellstone intimates say he was asking too many questions, that he wanted to get to the bottom of what really happened on 9/11, and thus was publicly executed as a warning. Watch the preview at WellstoneTheyKilledHim.com. A portion of the sales goes to fund a public investigation. Order a DVD for just $20. Help support our future projects. We document what the corporate and quote-unquote left media ignore. Chemtrails, weaponized mycoplasma, the IVAW, Bilderbergs, cyanine, and the Neo-Malthusian depopulation assault on humanity. Visit snowshoefilms.com or go to AFR's homepage and click the Snowshoe Films banner.
The year 2012 brings an ending and a new beginning to social, political, economic, and geological cycles for America and the world. The living prophecy that we are now voyaging through has many names ascribed to it. The Hopi say it's the closing of the fourth world of destruction, moving into the fifth world of peace. The Maya declare that we enter the fifth world age, the age of the center, all common themes in the array of prophecy that we are processing and purifying all the imbalances of the dying world age. We are transiting an era founded on duality, and we have turned away from the Great Spirit, resulting in greed, corruption, blind materialism, and disconnection from each other and Mother Earth. Collectively, we are poised at the brink of a world age rebirth in which we enter new domains of consciousness and manifestation, redeeming all the previous ages. Let's all join together to bring the vision of peace and love into reality, because we are the future, we are the heroes, and that we are who we have been waiting for.
Years of economic earthquakes have shaken our confidence in stocks, real estate, currencies, even nations. Gold has become a safe haven, a universally respected investment that preserves and grows wealth in today's debt-addicted world. According to Swiss America, the key to surviving economic earthquakes is maintaining and growing your standard of living. Rising government spending and taxes almost ensure higher gold prices for years to come. The good news? You can protect your family and future, even if the euro crashes and a tidal wave of inflation devalues our dollar. Your first step to safety is to read Swiss America's latest white paper, Remaking Money. It's free when you call today, 800-289-2646, 800-BUYCOIN, or go to SwissAmerica.com, or download the new Swiss America app at iTunes. That's 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646, 800-BUYCOIN. Call Swiss America, the gold standard.
Yo, what's up? Check this out.
The voice of the revolution. American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Hey, this is Roxy Lopez. I'm the host of the Truth Denied talk show, which airs live every Friday evening from 7 to 9 Central, only on the American Freedom Radio Network. Join us.
The end of the road, Troy. That's what I believe, and that's what many people do believe. It's the end of the road. They're done. They call them the powers that be now. So, well, it's probably a little bit early to call that, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I certainly believe that they're in their death throes. I think they're trapped within their own model. Like all parasites, they end up killing the host and going down. But I can't emphasize, and actually, Santos, I've heard you speak very eloquently on the subject of law and how it's been manipulated by various institutions. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the Catholic Church, for instance. Would I be right on that one?
Yeah, it's all Saturnian, Saturn, Latin, Aten. Yeah, all the black. Basically, when you rock up to court, you're still rocking up to the Inquisition. The priest, there you go. The magistrate is an ordinary, which is an officer of the church that has special powers to pass sentences, etc. So, ordinaries, you've got clerks or clerics, you've got prosecutors, which stand in your behalf, or accusers. You go to a hearing, etc., and it's in the Latin language, which is the language of spells. So, yeah.
Well, in Saturn Death Cult, I cover, a similar sentiment when I talk about what are called the Nicolaitans. It's a reference to the second letter to the Church of Ephesus as found in the Book of Revelation. And I appropriate the term Nicolaitan to describe the professional priest class that became the Catholic Church, and also much of the Protestant movement that came out of that later on, have also degenerated into these professional bodies who basically seek to govern and control through an understanding of law. And for me, it is actually the law that I think is one of the areas that people can educate themselves in as a way. If we can all agree that there is this potential for the elite to collapse and thus cause a vacuum on the planet, it's incumbent on the rest of us, I believe, to have an understanding of what we can replace, what we can reset to. And as far as I'm concerned, the concept of law is the most important aspect of that. And it goes right back to the original idea of what the Golden Age actually was, a time when there were equal weights and measures. You didn't have diverse weights and measures. You could trust the things that were used to make judgment, particularly in the affairs between individuals. And that's what we have to get back to. We have to get to an understanding of creating a law that the lowest person in the land, for whatever reason they're judged lowest, can trust that when he comes into dispute with the highest person, that he will be that he will have equal weights and measures applied to his case. And I think this is the revolution that we really have to look forward to. And in my opinion, it actually starts with the financial system. It starts with a monetary system that is actually an accurate and fair measure of the productive capacity of the people, and not a debt instrument as it is under the current central banking model.
Yeah, it'd be great if we could use those paper pieces of money if there wasn't interest, and then we could just use it as an exchange. It'd be fantastic, but it's not so.
Yes, there are a lot of people who sort of hearken, they want to get back to a gold standard. The studies I've done, there's an author, fantastic writer called Joseph P. Farrell, who wrote a book called Babylon's Banksters, where he shows that actually the introduction of a gold standard, which is my interpretation of what happened in the book of Daniel when Babylon set up a golden statue, that this was actually symbolic language for the first gold standard being established in a financial system. But the gold standard, while it has its benefits that you cannot counterfeit against it, or you can't counterfeit gold, it has the problem that it limits growth, and so therefore people often then create receipts for gold, and that's where the counterfeiting and the fiat system comes in. And as soon as interest becomes a part of that, the lending of interest, it's out of control. You're back in the cycle that we find ourselves at the end of today. But fiat money is not a bad concept as long as it is reflective of the productive capacity of the people who accept it and is not issued as a debt. It's as simple as that. I hear people on CNBC and business people going on all the time about the problems in the financial world. And at the end of the day, they're all barking up the wrong tree. The primary problem is that the money in our system, the money in circulation, is issued as a debt. And that will always result in a part of the population losing out, no matter how hard they work. If everybody worked as hard as they could and honestly as they could, you are still going to have a proportion of the population foreclosed on because it is impossible to pay back that 11th dollar.
Yeah. That's it. It's impossible. It's out there and it just keeps mounting and mounting. So it's really basically a Ponzi scheme, which is really designed to explode or implode, and hence that's a great way of consolidating property.
Yes, the foreclosure part of the deal. This is the tightrope that these guys walk. So often in history, they just simply foreclose. They win. They get title to the land, and you know, they manipulate the laws and so on. They buy politicians to create laws to make this happen. The system is there. I believe, however, and I'm very optimistic, that they've gone too far. It really has reached a point where it's so totally out of control that the whole of humanity, and I'll go so far as to say that in the same way that the cataclysm, the interplanetary cataclysms that marked the end of the last golden age, were so indelibly printed into the psyche of humans as archetypes of doomsday and so on, I would go so far as to say that the coming economic collapse will imprint into our psyche. We will never let this kind of system ever rise again. I really honestly, it's a hope. I know it's a hope. I don't have anything concrete to say that be evidence to say that that's how it's going to go. But that's what I suspect is taking place. That's how large the stakes have become, and that's how out of control it is for these people.
Yep, absolutely. You can feel it. You can just. It's almost like a knowing, isn't it? An inner knowing that all of a sudden we've remembered who we are. We've awakened. Power has been restored to us, and so we're naturally inclined to want to live freer. Once you see the shackles that have been put around you and so forth, when you're aware of it, you're less inclined to be subjected to it, and you want to express that freedom. It looks like that's what's happening around the world. People are waking up and realising that they've had a number done on them. And I've explained how our birth certificates are used as securities and stocks on bonds on the stock market. And each and every one of us.
That's pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah. We've given the bankers billions of dollars through our bonds, and what do we get in return? You know, well, if you want to get the dole, if you don't have a job, they make you jump hurdles and all sorts of things to get dribbly little bits back from that trust that they created in order to steal from us.
Yeah, so I couldn't agree more. This comes down to the whole idea that there's an ancient Celtic, and I believe it's part of many other cultures, and that is that nobody owns land. You only have custodianship of the land, and you can harvest what the land produces. So what you harvest and use becomes your property, but the land itself is merely something that you have custodial rights over. And this is why ancient wisdom always talked about the Jubilee, the resetting, where the land returned to a state of non-ownership as such. And we are going to have to, as a collective whole, explore these ancient wisdoms again. I like to tell people that we have a golden age, a silver age, followed by a bronze age, followed by an iron age in the esoteric traditions. But I like to tell people that the next stage, I believe, is the age where that which was written on stone will reassert itself. And those are the true laws for this custodial relationship, rather than this need to own and claim as your own personal property idea.
Troy, thank you so kindly for joining me. We've run out of time. Really appreciate your wonderful thoughts and and your time. Very insightful. And hopefully we'll do it again down the track. Thank you kindly.
Santos, thanks very much. It was a pleasure.
If you want to be a hero, well, just follow me. If you want to be a hero, well, just follow me.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
The First Amendment in the Bill of Rights limits the government's power by ensuring freedom of speech and preserves the rights of the people. Every day that passes, our rights gradually slip away. It's time to take a stand and let the government know that we are tired of losing our rights. LibertyStickers.com will allow you to express your rights and allow millions of people to see you stand up for what you believe in. LibertyStickers.com carries the largest selection of bumper stickers online, ranging from political to humorous. As always, you can find your favorite stickers that protest the war and the president. Don't see what you're looking for? Liberty Stickers will custom make stickers that will get your message across for all Americans to see. Go to LibertyStickers.com and see pre-made stickers that will get everyone talking. That's LibertyStickers.com, or call 877-873-9626. Liberty Stickers, the world's most dangerous stickers.
It's the story of a lost city, lost opportunity, lost hope. A story of failed policies, failed leadership. A story of smooth-talking politicians, games of he said, she said, rhetoric, and division. One man has stood apart, stood strong, and true. Voting against every tax increase, every unbalanced budget, every time. Standing up to the Washington machine, guided by principle. Ron Paul, the one who will stop the spending, save the dollar, create jobs, bring peace, the one who will restore liberty. Ron Paul, the one who can beat Obama and restore America now.
I'm Ron Paul, and I approve this message.
SwissAmerica.com reports gold prices rebounded above $16.25 an ounce Thursday on bargain hunting despite a firmer dollar. In thin pre-holiday trading, gold last traded at $16.27 an ounce, silver $31.74. Our once great nation and our economy is about to hit a wall, says Dr. Michael Savage after completing his 10th annual interview with Craig Smith, Swiss America chairman, after writing 4 important books accurately predicting the future of gold, oil, the dollar, and inflation. In this interview, Savage says he covers the heart of the next book and vision for preparing America for an event never before seen in world history. Log on to SwissAmerica.com/Savage to get your copy of this brand new CD, or call 800-289-2646. In other news, world food prices just keep rising. In March, for the 3rd straight month, Bank of America sees $2,000 gold ahead. Read more about it at SwissAmerica.com. Have a wonderful Good Friday and Easter holiday. Till next week, God bless.
No rules, no rules, no taboo topics, no taboo topics, no fear of doom, no fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio, American Freedom Radio.